Hello, everybody. Give everybody. Gotta make sure I'm looking good for the camera. Or wait, sounding good for the audio. Yeah, that's right. I forgot to do all that stuff ahead of time. Then when I turn it on, you get nervous, right? How many individuals have you noticed as they begin to broadcast, they cough? Hopefully they do it before they turn audio, video on. Anyway, welcome to the neurodivergent drive. Number, whichever order you happen to put them in, would be the number of your choice, of course. So why would I number it when you can number them all yourself? Actually, I respect your right to number this as any number you would like. And I was thinking about some of the ideas of serving the Lord, walking with Christ, and really even more so just understanding the Word of God, understanding principles of the kingdom, things like that. And the reality is that it's so natural, for one. That's an important aspect of it. And although there are a lot of complexities to our walk in life and ways in which the Word of God manifests through us and in us, it's actually very simple, very basic. It's not complicated, okay? Not complicated. There's a lot of complexities to it, but it's not complicated at all. And that's one of the topics I'll work on, helping to clarify better on the complexities compared to being complicated. Like, you might be able to tell these trees are blowing really hard, because I sure can see that, and you can too. It's very windy out. Now, if I was figuring out, I don't know, this is just off the top of my head, so apologies for not being a better illustration, but if I was figuring out like my miles per hour and what I should be getting and what I am getting, some things that are going to affect it, even if everything's running properly and working the way it should, the tire pressure in the tires can affect what kind of mileage that I'm going to get. The wind that's blowing, whether it's to the side, front, back, how it's direction I'm driving, how fast I'm driving, whether I'm needing to stop and start, whether I'm having to go in an area where it's just a steady stream and I can use cruise control. So many different factors. Is it raining? Is it snowing? Is the old man snoring? All these different factors add a great complexity to figuring out the mileage, but really just to get an idea and to understand it, it's really not that complicated to figure out. You can see, how much gas it takes you to go a certain distance, and yeah, it's going to vary some, but it's not really all that complicated. And again, that's a crude illustration, but in our walk with the Lord, in the realities of serving Him, walking with Him, in the understanding of the Word of God, again, that's the important thing, the Word of God, and how it changes us, the natural way in which it works in our lives, as it changes our thoughts and our ideas, our attitudes, our understandings, transforming us by the renewing of our mind, right? So we think differently, we communicate differently, we interact with others in so many different ways. And again, that goes to the thought life that's so important, and how the Word of God changes us. And it's not complicated. There can be a lot of complexities when we get to figuring out how things are, again, being manifest in our lives, how things are happening in our lives in so many different ways, different personalities around us that can affect our understanding and what we can see and realize, just so many things. And so one of the things that I'll be sharing in our neurodivergent drives, Michael, you're welcome, is about some of the complexities, but also how uncomplicated it is and how simple it is. And so hopefully I'm not too complex in sharing how uncomplicated it is, because then it might sound complicated when really it's not complicated at all, if you understand what I'm saying. And that's always the tricky part, isn't it? Putting them words together in a way that can be understood by everybody, with clear, strong imagery created by specific words in a select arrangement that are able to convey a thought, an understanding, a question, right? Because questions are so important for us to ask. That's one of the big tools that will help us in our lives, is understanding how to ask questions. Ask the right question, right? Sometimes we try to answer when people come at us with questions, when oftentimes what we really need to do is figure out what the right question is. Because if we have the right question, then we can come up with the right answer. And with the right answer, we can have some very positive results. And so it's so important for us to be able to dialogue, to have conversations with others, especially others that may see things differently than us, understand things differently than us, have solutions that approach situations from a totally different view than what we have, because they could be right and they could be good ideas. They might not be. They might be horrible ideas, and they might be completely wrong. Your ideas might be right and awesome, and they might be wrong. My ideas, probably wrong or right. But we don't know until we implement them often. We can learn from having really good dialogue with other people and then understanding their point of view. Because as we it sounded funny. As we each look at each other's point of view, we are able to understand better the full picture. You know, one person is looking at the blueprints at the construction site and going through all the material that need to be ordered, and it's all done on a computer screen, or in the past it was done with blueprints and things like that, electronically, and checking an invoice and making sure there's a spreadsheet or whatever that matrix looks like, and all that work is being done. And then you got the guys that are in the hole at the construction site digging out the foundation, pouring the footings, bringing in the beams. And each one has such a different point of view. And to expand and make it a more complex understanding, even though this is a simple message, the other individuals that then are involved in making something happen. It's so important to have not only those different points of view, but also individuals functioning and working to bring forth that product, that manifestation, that building, that edifice, that item that is dedicated to whatever purpose it is created for. A home, it's a great thing to create and to have. A house is one thing, but a home takes effort to create. A house takes effort to create as well, right? It takes the blueprints, it takes the foundation, it takes the workers, it takes the material, it takes the supplies, it takes all that stuff. It takes insurance, and you got all this electrical and water, and there may be city governments involved or local officials in so many different ways. All of a sudden, all this complexity comes in, but it's really not complicated. It's a house, needs power, water, basic things. And you can make it a home, and that's the important thing. Having that focus and understanding. And, for those that aren't neurodivergent like Michael, I do maybe apologize a little bit. I'm not sure if you're able to understand as well the conversation I'm having, but the thing, let me see if I can explain one thing to you anyway. I just got a moment. But the individuals that are neurodivergent that are listening to this, like Michael, are able to have multiple conversations along with the conversation that they're hearing from me, because they are responding back to things I'm saying. Isn't that right, Michael? See? And so they have more than one conversation. If they listen to this multiple times even, they'll have more than one conversation. It won't be all the same conversation. And often, perhaps even, I would say most of the time, it depends on the individual. But for Michael, I would say, yeah, he's probably having more than even one or two conversations that he's having at the same time that he's listening to this. I don't know. What do you think, Michael? Is that true? I don't know. You can hit me up later and let me know. Anyway, what is today? Monday. Okay, so... yeah, so Michael might have time to watch this today then. I'll send it to you. And see what you think about the uncomplicated complexities of the simplicity of life, and how amazingly entangled it is with so many different things that it's hard to keep track of everything unless you don't focus on them. That's what the whole ADD, they call it attention deficit disorder, but it's just because individuals pay attention to too many things at the same time. And not know which ones to shut out. Individuals with ADD often go to working equipments like in churches and stuff. They fit in better running the sound and video and audio because it gives them something to fidget with all the time and mess around with. And so you'll see a lot of ADD people or individuals with autism doing stuff like that in ministry. Working with the computers and all that stuff, they have a harder time interacting with people, and so then it's easier to work with computers and things like that. Okay, I don't want to stay signed in until I get to the place where I'm going, because it's an undisclosed location, so I'm signing out. We'll talk more later.